guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives, another episode of What Can You Get From That Pack. Now, about 7 months ago, whenever JPT released, it was like September. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute, okay? Ever since the release of JPT, we got ourselves a trifecta of new tags, right? We got ourselves Horror Show, we got ourselves Silver Screen, and we got ourselves Two-Tone. And then in between, we got ourselves a little cheeky little Christmas collection and Year of the Tiger, but I digress, right? Out of all those special tags that was initially introduced at the same time, Two-Tone has been the one that I have anticipated for the most. Silver Screen was cool. Horror Show was the worst, like the worst tag that's ever been in the game. Christmas Collection was, it was alright. Not good for me, but it was alright in terms of the pull of cars. And then Year of the Tiger, well, we already talked about that. It was a bit of a disappointment because they took away a lot of the 2010 and 2010 cars and 1998 cars that were supposed to be eligible. Like the Bugatti wasn't eligible and the Nissan R390 race car wasn't eligible. But I digress. The most hyped up of the special tags was Two-Tone. And for that, I need to explain to you why. And of course, I'm going to review the pack. And you're going to see right here, this pack is pretty stacked, okay? So stay tuned. I have two special announcements. The first one is, once again, I'm really close to 10,000 subscribers. So if you're watching and you like the content and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. And second of all, I am going to open one, maybe two of the Two-Tone packs. So stick around to the video for that. I'll open it somewhere in the middle of the video or maybe at the end. I don't know yet. We'll see how I feel. But anyway, welcome to what you can get from that pack. You guys know how it's gonna go. I'm gonna review every car you can get from the Two-Tone pack from ultra and above, obviously non-price cars, and how useful they are gonna be in a general sense, multiplayer, clubs, etc, etc, etc. You guys know how it goes. The ranks are always the same. Dirk Kaiser, daily driver, frequent provider, okay? Frequent provider is the average stuff, pernicious ulcer is the bad stuff, and hall garbage is the worst of the worst. If you guys want me to change some of the names, because I don't know, man, I've stuck with these names for a couple months now. They've become part of the channel, you know what I mean? I like them, they rhyme, they're cool, especially hot garbage. But let's get into it. Two-Tone pack, let's review. First one's gonna be the Subaru Impreza Gravel Express. Now this one is actually quite a good car. 80 handling when you max it out, 4-wheel drive, all surface tires. It's pretty lightweight, and it even has the MRA 70.34. Now obviously everyone's going to ask, well, not everyone, but every time I mention MRA, there's always one person in the comments that asks, what's MRA? So here's the thing, right? If I see you ask this question in the comments now, it means that you didn't watch this part of the video, and I would be sad. So MRA basically means mid-range acceleration. It's how fast your car accelerates from 60 to 100. Anyway, Gravel Express, starting off pretty strong. I'm going to even give it daily driver. Great car for the hill climb. You can use it on the snow because it's light. And you get 80 handling when you max it out, which is also pretty decent. And the MRA is pretty good. So I would say daily driver. There are definitely events where that would be useful. Not to mention, it's also an estate. It's classified as an estate. I know that, okay, for sure. Not an SUV. I know some of these Subarus are either estates or SUVs. It's really annoying, but that's an estate. Alright, next up, Suzuki C2. No introduction. I mean, we've done a lot of packs where this car has been eligible, packable, and every single time I put it in Dirk Kaiser. MRA 68.61, ridiculously light, low 0 to 60, great handling, no MRI, doesn't matter though. I mean, no top speed, but it doesn't matter because it is a twisty/hybrid car. Alright, next up is the Pulsar Concept. The Pulsar Concept, I'm gonna give it a daily driver. I feel like when I review this pack, when I review the cars that you can get the Pulsar, when I review the packs where you can get a Pulsar from, it either fluctuates, right? I either put it in Dirk Kaiser or daily driver, and because it's a great bargain, right? RQ50 is the cheapest and ultra it can be. You're getting 93 handling and medium ground clearance. What's not to love about a twisty/city streets car? Alright, next up is the Subaru Forester GT Turbo. Another Two-Tone car. That's gonna be pernicious ulcer. I'm not gonna put it in hall garbage because the Subaru Forester is incredibly light. Not only is it incredibly light, it actually handles pretty well. That being said though, the 0 to 60 is completely trash. You know what? A part of me actually wants to put it in frequent provider because it does handle better than the Gravel Express. Obviously, it doesn't provide the same MRI, not even close. It's like 47 MRI. So I think because of that, the no MRI, the no 0 to 60, I will put it as a pernicious ulcer, but a pretty high one at that. Alright, next up, the Audi S2 Coupe is going straight under hot garbage. No question, 55.45 MRA. No handling. Yes, it's 4-wheel drive. Yes, it's medium ground clearance, but ain't a dragster, ain't a twisty car. You got none on your resume, buddy, besides medium ground clearance. I'm talking about nothing on the resume besides medium ground clearance. We got the Bentley Grand Convertible, 77.29 MRI. Not the worst number in the world, but it's still not good enough if you want it to hit 190 miles per hour or get even close to that. 0 to 60 is and the handling is absolutely atrocious. That is super rare handling. 77 is unacceptable. I won't even accept 80 for a performance tire. If you are a performance tire car, look at that, okay? 50 RQ in the Pulsar, 84. For 10 RQ more in the Grand Convertible, you're getting 3 handling less. I mean, I rest my case. The Grand Convertible is a lot heavier than the Pulsar. They're both medium. They're both going to put them on city streets. I'd rather save the RQ with the more handling. All right, next up is the Bentley Mulsanne Extended Wheelbase. Now, this one, I'll put it as a pernicious ulcer. It's 6 RQ cheaper than the Grand Convertible, and yet it handles a little better. Yes, 0 to 60 is really bad. It's still really heavy, and, you know, has a high top speed, no MRA, but hey, all Bentleys are like that at this point. Moving on is the Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport. Definitely daily driver. 67 MRA on that is not good, but relatively light. But the main thing about it is it has 85 handling for an American car, and especially American cars that handle really well. Bit of a, you know, it's pretty rare, right? And the fact that this is also from the 90s makes it even more rare. American 90s that handle pretty well. So I would give it daily driver. I do have a bias towards this car. I mean, personally, if I added my bias into this, I would probably give the C4 Grand Sport Der Kaiser. But I'm not. I'm going to be subjective, okay? So daily driver. It's a very useful car. Great twisty American car. Dodge Charger Daytona. Interesting one, this one, because it has some niches, right? It's a saloon. It has medium ground clearance, and it handles. Feels very strange to say because it's a Dodge, and yet it handles. The MRA on this thing is atrocious, though. For a Dodge, 71.21 isn't good enough. But I would give it average as a frequent provider because it has those niches. It's a saloon, it's medium, right? The Bentley Mulsanne Extended Wheelbase, it's a saloon, it's medium. Not like the Grand Convertible. The Grand Convertible isn't a saloon, it's medium. But once again, when it comes to clubs, convertibles is actually putting you at a disadvantage because they never get requirements, which means that's one less avenue for you to make money from. That makes sense. You watch the Money Making series, you know what I'm talking about. All right, next one is the Ford Escape. Handles well, once again, very lightweight. I would be honest though, I would put it in the same rank as the Forester. They're both very similar cars. They're both very lightweight. They both handle pretty well, but their 0 to 60s are atrocious, one worse than the other, and the MRAs are non-existent. So both pernicious ulcers. Next one's the Lancet Delta. I'm gonna give that daily driver. 4-wheel drive, medium ground clearance, 90 handling, very lightweight. MRA on this thing isn't very strong. Top speed isn't very high, but it's not a dragster. Bit of a hybrid car. You can use in the wet, in the dry. You can use it in anything that has, you know, mini turns. Not too many turns. Not in slalom per se, but you know, well, slalom wet might be pretty alright on. But like, you know, just on a hybrid Monte Carlo tracks, Ocean City streets perhaps, hairpin road, twisty circuit, you know, that'll be fine, rain or dry. Moving on is the Mini JCW All-4 Countryman. That is also going to be, ooh, where did I put this? You know what? I'm gonna put it hot garbage because yeah, it's still light, right? Like the Escape, like the Forester, but think about it. It handles less, but it's like 12 RQ more. That is not a bargain. I know it has a low 0 to 60, but who the hell cares? You put that thing on a drag in a 4-wheel drive, also if it's tire category where its niche is in, still gonna lose to a Trailblazer, still gonna lose to a G63, still gonna lose to a Nissan Petrol. Okay, Nissan Petrol is epic to be fair, but you know what I mean, okay? That car just isn't gonna get you value. And when it comes to just German cars alone, then yeah, the G63 is gonna smoke it. All right, next one is the Mini John Cooper Works. 89 handling, medium ground clearance, medium, decent MRI on this. For a German car, that's pretty rare to find. Search up low RQ ultra German cars. You will see what I mean. There's not a lot to choose from, and the Mini John Cooper Works is one of the better handling ones. Now, that's only in the German medium ground clearance low ultra category / niche, okay? If you open up the niche to different niches like the front wheel drive niche, then the Mini John Cooper Works is one of the worst. That because, you know, there are other cars like the Renaults that get 85 handling, 84 handling, 83 handling, right? But the Mini John Cooper Works has another thing up its sleeve, and that's 75.95 MRI. Isn't good. That's not a good number, but for a front wheel drive car, it's decent because most front wheel drive medium ground clearance cars, their MRAs are usually like 60, around that number, or maybe a very low 70. So 75.95, it's alright. Okay, moving on is the 208 GTI. All right, you know how we just talked about front wheel drive medium ground clearance cars with no MRI? That's what we're talking about. You know, better handling than the Mini, but worse MRI. Coming in at what is this? 69.66. I would still choose the Peugeot over the Mini any day in a front wheel drive situation, but at the end of the day, they're both kind of pernicious ulcers anyway. They're not really that good. They're both light. They both handle pretty well. I would say the Peugeot handles pretty well. The Mini doesn't. Just that the Mini kind of has that niche medium ground clearance front wheel drive German and the MRI. But still, Horrendous. I know I'm trying to hone in on both of their positives a lot. That's not because they're good. It's just because I'm trying to what is it? Convince you guys that they aren't actually hot garbage and they're actually pernicious ulcer. Alright, moving on now is the Renault Megane 275 trophy, man. This thing is 100% their Kaiser. No question about it. Medium ground clearance, amazing handling, and a low 0 to 60. Definitely what you're looking for in a car like that. Twisty, medium ground clearance car. And last but not least is the TVR Griffith 200. This one I'm going to give frequent provider. Pretty interesting one, this. It's a bit of a jack of all trades kind of car. The 0 to 60 is actually, you know, quite weak. I wouldn't say okay maybe for 51 IQ. Handling is atrocious. Top speed isn't very high, but the TVR Griffith is very, very light. 875 kgs, so almost, you know, 100 kgs less than a ton. And it has 86.22 MRI. So also it's from the 60s, I believe. I can't see because the picture is too small. It has some niches though. You can get some value out of it in situations where it's needed. I'll give it a frequent provider. All right, let's move on to epics now. The first one's going to be the Subaru Forester XT, 67 MRI, lightweight, 4-wheel drive, all surface tires with 75 handling. Where did I put this? I'll put it as frequent provider for now. To be fair, I don't know, man. Pernicious also might be another place I want to put it because, like, you can get value out of this car, but you need to max it. You know what I mean? I'll keep it at frequent provider for now, but the next one I want to talk about is a German off-roader that you cannot write off, and that is of course German off-roader, Japanese off-roader that you cannot write off, and that's going to be the Nissan Bluebird SSS. Of course it's their Kaiser, one of the best epics in the game, the best 65 epic in the game in my opinion. Moving on is the Abarth 124 Spider Rally, and I'm also going to give that their Kaiser. This is a car I'm looking for. When I open that pack later, I want the Abarth, because if I don't get my dream car, which is the GT2 RS, I would like to get the Abarth 124. Very lightweight, handles well, low 0 to 60, and it comes in with 80 handling. 80 handling? What? 80 MRA and 94 handling when you max it out. Very, very good car. Just don't put it on anything past a quarter mile. You can put that on the quarter mile. Low 0 to 60, 80 MRA, that's still alright. So you can put it on the quarter mile, that's fine. Half mile, maybe, depending what you're coming up against. Definitely not testable, definitely not 1 mile, okay? Tokyo Drag should be fine. It's a great little hybrid car. You know, a hairpin road, fast circuit, I think it'd be great on. Since it's lightweight, it's not been bad in the slalom as well, but it could use a little bit of handling, I would say, if you want it to be a slalom car per se. Alright, moving on, the Bentley Bentayga, definitely Der Kaiser, okay? 78.79 MRI, though that number for an SUV is ridiculous, okay? Low 0 to 60, high top speed as well. Definitely one of those unicorn cars I need in my garage. Next up is the DS Servo. The DS Servo is going to be a frequent provider. It's kind of average. I would say it's a low frequent provider, verging on pernicious ulcer. It has 99 handling and 4-wheel drive. And the MRI on this thing is actually really weak. It's 70 MRI and is relatively heavy. That being said though, 99 handling, 4-wheel drive. So it's got its niches. It's got its, you know, standout stats. I'll give it average. Alright, next up is the Ford Mustang GTR Concept. That's going to be a daily driver. 100 MRI. 100 handling. Why am I getting handling and MRIs mixed up so much today? 100 handling, okay, when you max it out 233, 80 MRI, low 0 to 60, and a high top speed. Now, with 80 MRI, it's not really going to hit that top speed, but this is more of a twisty car anyway, has the concept tag as well. Only reason why I'm not putting the GTR Concept in Der Kaiser and I'm putting in daily drivers, when you think about it, the Fiat Epic is the best Fiat, you know? The Bentayga is the best SUV, Epic Dragster. The Nissan Bluebird, one of the best off-roaders for its RQ. It's the best of the best. The Ford Mustang GTR, the only thing holding it back from their Kaiser is its two older brothers, the FR500 GT and the Mustang GT4. And those two you can find in American Dream events as well. They're usually running together with the Mustang GTR Concept, so because of that, I'm putting that in daily driver. Alright, moving on is the KTM Expo GT. The KTM Expo GT, I'm going to put it in frequent provider. And I know what you might be thinking, Blossom, you're crazy. How can this be frequent provider? It has 101 handling, for crying out loud. The thing is, right, much like the Mustang that we ranked earlier, there's just too much competition in this niche, you know what I mean? The KTM Expo handles really well, but there's so many cars better than it. The Superlight, the Donks, the Cater MJPE. There are other KTMs out there that are better as well. I don't know what the model names are, but you know what I mean. I think it's like the XT4, GT4, whatever it's called. So, you know, this is your entry-level Expo, your entry-level KTM. So, because of that, because of the amount of competition that it has to fight fight with. The best I can give it is a high frequent provider. Moving on is the Spiker Labiole. Ooh, pernicious ulcer, man. On paper statistics of the Spiker, absolutely hot garbage. Bad 0 to 60, bad handling. Top speed is good. But the main thing about the Spiker that's keeping it from hot garbage is the MRA, of course. 89.58 MRA. That is strong, not bonkers, but it's strong. Okay, moving on to the legendaries now. Oh, they are stacked. First one is the Acura DNX. Daily driver, straight up. 76.2 MRA. I get it. That's not good. So that basically overrides the 207 top speed that it has, because that's basically irrelevant, no MRA. That being said though, handles pretty well with 4-wheel drive, 483 RQ. And it is also a saloon. It is also a concept. It is also a 2000s car. The DNX is useful because it's packed full of niches, okay? Remember when American Frontier came out and you needed the DNX in almost every final that came out after that, like the next 5, next 6? Yeah, because this thing is chock full of niches, okay? And it has decent stats besides the top speed and the MRI, because the top speed is irrelevant when the MRI isn't there. Moving on is going to be the Continental 24, and even then, it's a daily driver. It's one of the better Bentleys. Why? Because it actually has MRA. 90 MRA with a high top speed and a low 0 to 60. Fair enough. That is actually a Bentley that you can get value from. The Deadpool Bentley, as I like to call it. And then you have, of course, the Onyx and the Veyron. I mean, the Veyron is like 107 MRA, and the Onyx is 108 MRA. I mean, they need no introduction, right? Incredibly high top speed, incredibly low 0 to 60. And they both handle well as well, but the main thing about these two is the MRAs that they have. And then, of course, is the 911 GT2 and the 911 GT3. These two right here are the main reasons to why I might be opening the ×5 offer in a couple weeks from now, because you guys may forget, I freaking love Porsche, okay? It's my third favorite brand, and the GT2 RS is one of my favorite cars of all time. I know it's gone a little bit under the rug because of the introduction of the DBS Superleggera, and obviously, I know I talk about Dodge way too often, but the GT2 RS has been one of my wish-listed cars for years, for literal years. I don't like to talk about cars that I really want anymore, because we all know what happened with the wide body. The moment I say I really want something, I'm never gonna get it. So I've been keeping a low profile of the DBS Superleggera, and I've been keeping an even lower profile about the 911 GT2 RS. But in actual fact, this is a car that I've genuinely wanted for years, ever since it was introduced into the game in the Mazda update back in early 2018. That's how long it has been. Still looking for that. Maybe this is the time that I'll finally get it. Definitely Der Kaiser, not only because I love it, but obviously it's really freaking good. 93 RQ, amazing handling, incredibly low 0 to 60, high top speed, and 91 MRA. And finally, the GT3 coming in at 84 MRA. It's not the best in terms of being a dragster, but that doesn't really matter because it is basically 5 RQ less than the GT2, and you are still getting equal handling numbers. Still a very impressive 0 to 60 number and an impressive top speed as well. 84 is bad for a legendary, to be honest, but it is still not horrible, okay? It's not like this is a car that I will never put on the drags or a fast circuit. So anyway, this is the two-tone pack, and you can see right here why I want to open this. This is the best out of the original tags, as I said at the start of the video. Horror Show was a horror show. Silver Screen was... It was alright. You know, there were some bangers in there. There was the CT6, and there was Blosseg, and there was the Hellcat, but the Hellcat wasn't the best Hellcat. But the two-tone pack is actually ridiculous. It has a Bugatti. It has both GT2s. I mean, and there's both Porsche GTs, the GT2 and the GT3. It has the Onyx. It has one of the best Fiats you can get. One of the best Bentley SUVs you can get. Well, actually, no, it is the best Bentley SUV you can get. Yet it has the Bluebird. It has the Megane, the C2. And when we look at daily driver, you can still get, you know, a 100 handling Ford Mustang, a really great American Frontier all-rounder in the Acura DNX, and even a decent Bentley, which is very rare to find. So I would say that I'm very, very hyped for this pack. You know, the pack is good when a car in the average tier is capable of hitting 101 handling, okay? But anyway, before we end up the video, let's jump into top drives. I'm gonna open a pack. Let's go. Ah, we were so close. We were so close. Look at that, my gold, man. 49,698. I was so close to seeing that 50k gold, but that's gonna have to wait a little longer because I do want to open myself this two-tone special offer. 20,000 cash and 10 slots as well. Comment down below what you think I'm gonna get. Let's do it, boys. Two-tone. I have told myself many times when two-tone packs come out, I will open some of them. I'm still thinking about opening the ×5. Seriously, I'm really thinking about that. Okay, Acura SLX. What is it gonna be? If it is gonna be an outro, I would like an outro I don't have, and actually one of them is actually the Bentley extended wheelbase. I would get that just for the collection. If not, the TBR Griffith would be pretty cool. Epics, I want the Bentayga. Legendaries, you know what I want. Let's go. Not to be. You know what? We got time though. The challenge is coming up. The carbon fiber is up for grabs. We got time. Don't worry about it. I'll take the cash. I'll take the slots. Thank you very much. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. Everyone stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night. When I hold you perfect